Conversations with Kelly.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with Kelly. And I have two special guests today, not just one.
Yes.
We have Jessica Fabus-Chang and we have Christine Piacentino. Yay!
Yay!
Welcome.
Thank you.
I do my yay.
I know.
Why I have no idea.
Yay.
It's my signature. It's my signature.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for coming and joining me in the studio today. And we are going to be talking about how we met and pageants, obviously, with the crown.
I don't know why you
I
think
need
that.
to steal that.
Okay. Yes.
Like really?
And one tough mother, Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, and more today.
Yes.
So where do we even start? Let's start with how we all met. So we originally met through Jessica. You brought Christine as your special guest
Yes, my one person in the audience.
to the Mrs. New York America. Yes, she did. That's how I remember her. It's exactly how I remember her. I was like, wow. And I thought it was your mother.
Everybody thought I was her mother.
Yep, everybody thought that she was your mom, and we were like all proud and happy. And
Must be so proud of your daughter.
No.
She's not here.
you're like, no.
Yeah, she's at home. Yeah. But I actually so I competed for the New York America title for 4 years in a row. And the first 3 years I invited Christine to come, and every year she's like, oh, I can't, I have a cold, or, just something came up. And then I invited her again the fourth time, and she...
Fourth time's a charm.
Exactly.
Instead of third time.
Right.
So, and
I said, oh, I'm free. I can go.
Yeah. And I remember you gave me a gift card
Yeah.
in the back, and that was and you wrote me a card, and that really touched me.
She's always like that. She's always so sweet, and contrary to what some people might say about both of us, right?
Right, really.
But she's always so thoughtful, and she's done really great things with me even since I've known her, and just the little things that I feel like are just so important. And her coming and supporting you, that was amazing. And I remember watching you get crowned and you walking on the stage, and then we just it clicked. We got introduced, and then you were in the magazine.
Yes.
And I said, okay, this is perfect. So we started talking about not the pageant stuff. It was the Duchenne's.
All the other stuff.
And I didn't know what it was at that time. I had no idea what Duchenne's muscular dystrophy was, or how you guys ended up together advocating for it. So it was such an interesting thing for me to be able to hear and to understand. And Christine, tell us a little bit about Duchenne's. What is Duchenne's for the people that don't in the audience that have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about right now?
It's a hereditary disease. It's a genetic mutation on your dystrophin gene, and your genetic mutation could be any one of a few things. You have a duplicated exon, you have a missing exon, or you have what's known as a stop codon, which, if you think of a period in a sentence, the period's in the wrong spot and it stops the creation of dystrophin. Now, dystrophin is on the X gene. Boys have an X and a Y. So the mom usually passes a bad X. Moms have two X's.
Okay.
So moms can pass the bad X to their son, thus giving them Duchenne. In rare cases, women also have been diagnosed with Duchenne because they have both X's that are bad.
Wow. So your son has Duchenne's and your cousin has it.
Right.
So now, how old is your cousin?
He is 25.
And that's how you guys originally met, correct?
Advocating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Advocating. So I actually, it was my first advocacy conference, and I had, got no idea what I was doing. And I went down to Washington, D.C., and I was outside the doors of the ballroom to the Mayflower Hotel, and I heard like all these people inside talking or just a lot of noise. And I had this moment where I was like, what am I doing here? I'm a cousin to someone. I don't have a son. Like, what is my contribution? Should I even be here? But I just decided to go in. I was by myself, so I went in, and there was a table for New York, and I think Connecticut was part of it.
Right. There was, yeah.
And I met Christine initially there, I believe.
Yes, it was there with Jonathan, because Jonathan was with me.
Yes, and in my first advocacy meetings, I witnessed Jonathan advocating, and that was incredibly powerful. And the other thing I'll say is we were, in a previous episode, we were talking about accessibility. And when the first time that we advocated, I don't know if you remember this, the Senate building, I believe it was the Hart Senate building.
Yes.
Their accessible, it was under construction. So the accessible entrance was non-existent. The only way to get in the building.
I was going to say, how do you?
There's no plan B. It's like, okay, it's closed. Okay, it's closed. Well, what if you have a meeting? What if you are a power chair user?
Right.
We had to go up through the loading docks where they brought dumpsters filled with trash up to, this taking out the trash. So we rode in the elevator with Jonathan with a dumpster.
Right.
And
it's a freight elevator with trash, a trash dumpster.
Like a cage elevator. And we're dressed up and we're going to meet our representatives.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I'd be like, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
So when we left, I said to the security guy, when's this getting fixed?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody who knows Christine knows she speaks her mind. She will tell you how it is, and she doesn't give a shit about it.
Yeah. And it was an eye opener, because
wow.
And we walked around like we thought we were going to be late because we didn't know where we were going.
Yeah.
Because normally,
yes, that's right. You're in the bowels of the building.
Right. Normally, I knew where the accessible entrances were because I was there before. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, we can't get in that way. How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
So one of the Capitol Hill policemen said, here, somebody showed us. A janitor?
Yeah, I think it was like a custodian or somebody hauling out trash. So I was like, well, you can go here if you want. But he had that sense like, well, maybe you don't want to do this.
But there's no
other choice,
right.
So
I just looked at him. I said, there's no other choice. And Jonathan, being Jonathan, said, dude, let's go.
Yeah,
I can picture him doing that.
So I got an education.
Got that from you because he speaks his mind too.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just been, a crazy little roller coaster ride ever since.
And I remember just because the first day of the advocacy conference is always some training.
Okay.
And Jess was kind of hesitant because it was our first one.
And you were probably pretty young.
Well, it was only it was in 2019.
Right.
So I wasn't that much younger, but
no, but still.
But and that is what I was going to say is, every voice is important because everyone has their own perspective.
Right.
I just was assuming that I wouldn't have as strong or as powerful a voice as a mom. Granted, I wouldn't have the same experience, but we need grandmas, we need grandpas, we need
friends,
everything.
Right.
Yeah. Because we all have to kind of bond together and speak our piece and speak our mind in order for things to get done. And
so we'll see you on the hill.
Yeah. You'll be coming to the hill with me.
I honestly would love to experience something like that just to see what it's all about. And I can't even imagine how powerful it must be.
It is. It's very powerful. And people think you have to be a professional lobbyist. Mm-hmm. No, you don't.
No.
You're there to tell your story. The organizations that put the conference together usually have people that have been in that lobbying position, and they have people that run the advocacy conference. And they're stationed in Washington. So they're there when we're not. Mm-hmm. And what happens is, you'll get a call out and say, hey, it's time to contact so-and-so. your representatives, send them emails, call them, here's the script. So it's pretty much prepared for you for that
nice.
stuff. And
Very organized.
It's very
actually.
organized. And even when you leave your meetings, and probably 2 days later, you get an email and say, okay, it's time to send your thank you emails. Here's your talking points.
So they
So
just
it's-
kind of walk you through
They
everything.
walk you through it. And basically, all you have to do is tell them the impact that this disease has on your family and what you go through.
Oh, and I mean, we've known each other for 3 years now, and we talk a lot.
All the time.
You know?
Are you kidding?
We talk a lot.
She'll call and my husband will say, who's that? Kelly. Again?
Yeah. Sounds like my husband would say something like
I
that.
know.
Again.
Or we're texting,
Yeah.
we're,
Right.
in the middle of the night or
Right.
whatever, because
I'm
there-
up.
yeah, and there's all different things we're obviously discussing, but I'll never forget you going to the hospital with Jonathan when
Oh.
and just listening in your voice. I don't want to cry, but just listening in your voice. And I know how strong you are, and
I was,
Yeah.
that was pushing my limit.
Yeah.
Really.
and you could tell, and I just can't even imagine. I've been lucky enough to have 2 children that are
Healthy.
extremely healthy, and I just can't even imagine what that would be like. And my one girlfriend has lupus, and I see her and her struggles, and then you with Jonathan. It's crazy to me. I think, being a single mom, that's something spectacular. But then you see other people and what they go through, and you're like, yeah, that was nothing. That was
it's all about perspective.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You just have to, and
And your strength, and obviously you have that strength in you to be able to.
I had good training. My dad died of lung cancer when I was 16, and my mother and I took care of him.
Oof.
So, that was my precursor for this. And I know that. That was part of my life's road. And to take care of my sick father was the training ground for me to end up taking care of my son.
Well, they say that God puts you
Together, right.
together with
Different, right.
certain things, and
It's very true.
Yeah. And my
I,
mother,
I swear by that.
Yeah.
I really do. My grandmother was a powerful force, and thank God every day that I got to spend 48 years with her and see, how she was from the time I was a kid. And luckily, knock on wood, that I got her work ethic. And
right. Thank God.
she was working until she was 90, probably 92-ish.
Wow.
But that was the big joke in the family, because even in her late 80s, she was working and taking care of, this is the killer, guys. Try not to laugh. She was working for old people. I'm like,
What?
do you not realize?
Yeah.
Yep, she would clean, and she would, be their
Sort of
like
companion.
Yes,
and yeah.
yes. And it was just always hysterical, because I'm like, you do realize that you're like 88. You're doing all of this. But it gave me that incredible work ethic that I'm so grateful for to this day. But it also gave me compassion, because, I watched her. She lost her husband, when she had been married for 52 years. And then you're going to live another 30 years
Right. Yeah.
afterward.
Yeah.
Holy,
Wow.
how do you do that? And
Yeah.
and she did, and she
You
was just
just do
such an
it.
amazing person.
That's what it is. You just do
Yeah,
it.
you just do it. But
I think too, with advocacy, I think about my own life, and that there were signs early on that I'm an advocate. One of them was I've always had a strong sense of justice, and I can remember being a little girl and seeing these those boys, like 6th grade boys or something, going up to trees and like baby trees and like ripping the branches off for no reason.
What is it with boys?
I
Like, boys
don't know.
Boys
Yeah.
do this kind of
Yes.
stuff.
So here I come, this little girl.
Girls wouldn't think about doing
Right.
that.
No. And
we're just mean to each other.
yeah, exactly. We would never dream of that, but yeah. So I went up to them and I advocated for the tree. And the reason I did is because the tree couldn't speak up for itself.
Right.
It was
you go.
defenseless.
Right.
You know? And then when I became a nurse, I worked in the operating room and I had this moment where I realized the patient's asleep. They cannot advocate for
No.
themselves. So if I see something and no one else does, I must speak up.
Yeah.
So those were the precursors that led me, I think, to the doors of the Mayflower Hotel. And although I was like, well, I don't have the, the qualifications, in quotation marks in the moment.
But you've got that nursing end of
right.
things
That's
too.
true.
So
Exactly.
that's,
yeah.
Yep.
that to
And
me
that's
kind of
powerful,
correlates
too.
together.
Yeah, it does.
My
It's
daughter,
powerful.
my daughter's going to be a nurse, so she'll have her RN next year.
Oh, that's
and,
amazing.
Yeah, and
Good luck to her.
it's amazing to watch. But I was like, what? You're going to be a nurse? You don't want to take over the magazine? She looked at me and she was like,
No.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
She
No,
walked
Mom.
away. I mean, she's watched, me,
Struggle.
working 80 hours a week to be able to keep everything going, but she's also gotten that work ethic
Right.
Yeah.
too. She's been working since she was 15.
Yeah.
And
And she'll be amazing.
I'm super proud of her, and I think it's such an incredible field, and she's got that compassion too, and she's like you. She'll speak up. She'll watch something going on. She's not going to just stand back and watch everything go. So yeah. Oh, this is amazing that we are able to from that one particular moment, just
in
one
time.
little weekend,
Right.
that now here we are
With
3
my
years,
loudmouth screaming.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally, there was no one in the audience yelling for her but me.
Yeah. I
That's
recently,
awesome.
it is. And I recently saw a crowning moment from another pageant, like part of the Miss Universe organization. And it was the person that I guess they didn't expect was going to win. And it was the same. There was like, people were clapping, but
but one person.
there was like one or
That
two
one-
people. They were like, rah. And then like you see the other people and they're just like on their phones or something.
Yeah,
I'm
You're
like,
okay.
Christine, that was Christine. So I'll find it. I'll send it to you. It's you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But
Oh,
but that's what it takes. Just one person,
but you
one
just
meeting.
Right.
You just never know
Yeah.
who is going to be brought into
Yeah.
your little circle
That's
and
true.
brought into your life. And I'm grateful that I was able to be able to be a part of that, and then say, okay, yep, we're here 3 years later, and I'm good friends with Christine, and I'm good friends with Jessica. And yes, the relationships are obviously different, but it's those type of things that I'm so grateful for, and that's why I continue to do what I do. And my thing is advocating for women and being able to tell their stories, no matter what they look like. And by having the publication and the podcasts and all of this type of stuff, I'm able to offer them a platform to be able to share their true stories and share their real, as I call it, their real talk.
Right.
And that by having these platforms, nobody can tell me no. And that was always the biggest thing for me, is I have my own thing, because I don't want anybody to censor me or to tell me, no, you can't do that. And that's why I keep going, because it's just that one person that you can help share their story or make a difference in their lives.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep going.
Yeah.
That's the same reason I keep going. I could have, Jonathan's 30. I could have stopped.
But
But I don't. I don't
that's
want
not
to.
in you.
That's not in me.
That's not you. That's not the person you are.
No.
You're gonna. I think you'll be doing this long after even that Jonathan's not able to advocate for himself anymore.
Oh, I will. I know it. Because if I can
it's
reach,
just in you,
if I can reach that one family that just got diagnosed, that's in
and help them.
and help them, I've done my mission.
Yep.
because it's very scary. It's like they get overwhelmed very quickly. They don't know what to do. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of bad information.
And you don't know where to look or where to go to or what to believe or what to do.
So if I can just help one family navigate one aspect, then I think I've won.
Yeah, I totally agree. And with you, with the accessibility issue, if you can help one person, then you've made somebody else's lives easier. And you just never know what difference that's going to make for somebody. It could be the difference between, them being here or not being here.
That's right.
And that's the way that I try and look at things too, is, we have to, not everything's, unicorns and rainbows and sunshine all the time.
It's not.
Although people like to think,
everybody likes to think that. But it's not.
And if people say to me, "Oh my God, you've got the life. You're living the dream," and I'm like, "Okay, yep. I'm glad you think that. That means I'm doing my marketing correctly and I'm doing my job right." Because the way that I present myself and the way that I show myself, especially on social media, and all the eyeballs are on you.
Right.
And it's real easy to get caught up in the negativity and the drama and the bullshit that, I won't do it. I refuse. And I refuse to feed into any of that. I refuse to do any negativity on there. Although I was telling a story yesterday, it wasn't negative, but it was kind of gross and funny all at the same time. But that's a whole nother thing. But
that's my life.
It's like
gross and funny at the same time. Right?
my stuff is filled with my events, the women and people in the magazine, and my dogs. Everybody loves the dogs, and they should have their own page.
Yeah.
But I try to show the positivity and the happy end of things, because there's too much negativity out there already. And I don't want to feed into that. So
let's just not make life harder. It's
I wish my life was unicorns and rainbows and sunshine every day, but
I think we all do.
Let's be real.
Yeah, we all do. Not every day is like that.
People don't see the fact that, I get 4 hours of sleep half the time because my brain's not shutting down. Or
No, I only get 4 hours of sleep because the BiPAP machine keeps going off, and I have to make sure, is he breathing? Is
that would drive me nuts. That would
is the
that
hose
would drive
twisted?
Me, that would drive me crazy.
Is his face in the pillow?
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Especially because you've had the other end of things with, him being rushed to the hospital. So you have to kind of keep up and worry about it. But well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining me again on
we
the
love to
podcast.
join you.
Yes.
We love to talk.
In the We Shoot Film studio space here in Parrington Square.
Yes.
Got to give Julio a big shout out.
Thank you, Julio.
Yes, our
Without touching the wires.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
We're like, okay, don't touch anything.
Yeah.
You guys would die laughing if you saw our behind the scenes and how we're like trying to sit and the shoes and all of the things that poor Julio has to deal with having us in the studio space.
Well,
But
that's awesome.
all right. Well,
All right.
this is another episode of Conversations with Kelly. Woo! Done.
All right.
We out.
Are we out?